you know, if you look at it. Since Mao, really, the Chinese leadership and the Communist Party decided that there would be a two-term limit for their presidents, and President Xi Jinping changed those rules. He made himself the head of the military, the head of the party, the head of the government, and has changed his, you know, given himself unlimited term limits. So that has changed some concerns.
Yeah, what do you think of that shift?
Look,
the term limits.
I'm not personally concerned at one level, because you can sit there and say, well, we have leaders that last, you know, 3 terms, for instance, and many others.
Quite different, though,
it's driven by the will of the people.
Yeah,
but ultimately, even in a country like China, I mean, many people watching this will never agree with me. They'll say, well, if you don't have a democracy, you can't get rid of someone. But actually, the Arab Spring showed that even if you have an authoritarian sort of leadership, or one that certainly where there's no voting capacity, if you like, that if the masses don't like it, you can change. I think the bigger issue really is that in some respects, change is a healthy thing. I think it's why the Americans have a 2-term limit, that they sort of perceive after a period of time, it's actually good to have change and good to have fresh thinking. That's the only challenge.
So would it be good for China, do you think, in a global context, if China were to change its leader?
Well, I mean, I think it's ultimately...
That's what you were saying.
Yeah, ultimately, I'm just saying that in terms of any leadership, it doesn't really matter whether you're the president of a country or the CEO of a business. If there is never change, then I think ultimately you get tired in the way that you do things. Now, you know, how long will Xi Jinping stay? I don't know.
Would it be good though if he was to leave?
Oh, look, ultimately it's not for me to opine on that. I think what I can tell you is he's popular in China. I think not with everyone, but he is popular, and he's in many respects probably been a very good leader for them if the measurement of that is lifting people out of poverty. And you've had literally hundreds of millions of Chinese people who've had a significant improvement in their standard of living.
Is he an authoritarian leader?
Well, he's complete, if you like, in the sense that he's wanted to rule the military, the party and the government. And that's obviously an enormous amount of power in a country the size of China. But then you can argue, well, you know, that's been the most efficient way of doing things. Like anything, you know, you can worry if there's too much power, but you do have a system where they have the Politburo. There are some checks and balances on the president. So
is he authoritarian?
Look, it's not for me really to be the great judge of...
You're quite close with him, though. I mean, you've spent quite a lot of time with him.
I personally like him.
Yeah.
You know, I think there are strengths and weaknesses in every leader and in everything that they do. All I can tell you is the relationship I had with him, and that was... Actually, to be honest, he was extremely trustworthy, very open, consistent, treated the relationship with mutual respect, actually.
Was it good for Nancy Pelosi to visit Taiwan this week?
No.